Hello and welcome to today's episode. My name is Evelyn from Motivation and Leadership. And if you're meeting me for the first time, I help people to overcome the fear and the myth that surrounds the word leadership, because I strongly believe that leadership is personal leadership is the highest form of leadership that there is. So I'm going to give you a few minutes so that if you are online, you can invite your friends and get ready. Please get a biro and a notebook so that we can continue this. So I'm giving you a few minutes. Get yourself a biro and a notebook. This is going to be very important. This is going to be very, very important. So get yourself a biro and a notebook. Okay, we are about to start. Please get yourself a biro and a notebook. Because today we are going to talk about something very important. We are going to talk about money. We are going to talk about money. So this is very important. This is very important. Get yourself a notebook and a biro, because today's session is going to be very, very important. We're going to talk about money, and you can invite your friends on. Invite your friends, because money is something that is very important to all of us. So today we want to talk about money. If you are on board, welcome. Welcome, and invite as many friends as you can. Today's session, we are going to talk about money. And I'm giving you a few minutes so that you can take a biro and a notebook. Take a biro and a notebook so that you can jot down a few things. So welcome, and let's start off. Welcome, and if you're able to invite your friends, you can invite them. So when we talk about money, money has become a center of our life. If in any setup, if you talk about money, you will get attention of everyone, if not most. Because everything we do nowadays, it evolves, it's all about money. And so money has become like a source of security. And what I want to talk about today, let's start from a few facts in Africa, with a more focus in Kenya. 1% of the population is born into wealth. So they don't have to worry about making money. But the only thing they have to worry about is how to spend that money, and how to keep that money, and how to make that money grow. And then we have another 10% of the population, which is the middle class, where we worry about how we are making the money. But in most cases, we don't worry so much on how we are making that money, because we have a source of income either from employment or from a business that we do that is bringing us money. But we also worry about how we are going to keep that money with us. We are also worrying on how we are going to make this money grow, or how we can make this money work for us. And then we have the other population, which is the lower population, which worries about getting hold of that money also. So basically that worry of how do I keep this money and how do I make this money grow is across the board. And that's what we're going to talk about today. First, before I continue, I'm going to make a disclaimer. I am not a financial expert on money. So whatever I'm giving you is something that I have learned from my personal experience, especially during this COVID-19 period. And also it is something that I've learned by watching other people, and also from learning from other people, and also learning from recommendation that people have sent to me. And I would say, like this COVID-19 period, someone recommended for me a book, and that book is called The Smart Money Woman. I know it's basically written for women, but the lessons I learned there goes across the board, it goes across everyone else. And before I continue with this, I know we have a mentality, we have a culture on how we see wealth. We see wealth, or I, Evelyn, have always seen wealth as something, or how I spent my money. For example, which neighborhood do I live in? It shows my wealth. If I have a car, what kind of a car am I driving? And for example, do I have a car even in the first place? For us ladies, we are watching what kind of hair are we wearing, or what kind of makeup do I use? As in, the thing is, we are always looking at wealth in terms of how we spend money. It is a misconception for many, because from a financial experts, they'll say that wealth is not how we spend money, but how we retain the money that we have, how we make it grow, and how we make it work for us. But unfortunately, in Africa, there is that lack of basic financial skills, or rather the basic framework on how to make that money, on how to keep the money that we get, make it grow, and also make it work for us. So this is my story. Before COVID-19, I had a very well-paying job. It wasn't paying me so much money, but I will call myself that I was very comfortable with what I was getting. I had a roof over my head. I would eat very well. I didn't have to worry about paying my bills, and I could travel once in a while. And then when COVID-19 came, I was given that we had a pay cut from 100% of what I used to take home to 25%. So you can see the difference of how much I was losing. But then, even if we had that pay cut, we were promised when things get back to normal, we were going to get the 85%. So there was a certain kind of comfort, a certain kind of reassurance that things are going to get better. So I didn't panic as much. I was just there. Yes, I was worried a little bit, but not so worried, until after the 3 months went, and we were expecting another update, and then we were told, now things have gotten worse. You will not be getting money for the next 3 months. That means unpaid leave for the next 3 months. And that is when panic set in. That is when I realized that things are not normal anymore, because money was not coming in for 3 months. And then I started asking myself, or rather I started looking at my finances, looking at what do I have in my bank account. what is it that how am I spending my money? Because now then another thing now came in, and then I thought, what will happen if after 3 months the situation gets worse and there is no job coming in? And then I realized that I've made so many mistakes with my finances. I started doing a lot of research on my finances. I started looking at how I've been spending my finances, and I have learned a lot during this period of COVID-19. And as I said before, I am not a financial expert, but I'm going to share what I have learned from my own mistakes, the mistakes that we generally make, and what I have decided to work on, and hopefully it's going to make me improve. So one mistake that I learned, and I think most of us make this mistake, is living from paycheck to paycheck. I have worked for 15 years, and for those 15 years, I have been living from paycheck to paycheck. I have been planning my life on my salary as it comes in next month, how I pay I have a budget, by the way, a very nice budget on how I pay my bills, how I spend on my food, how I arrange for my travels and everything. I have a budget, yes, but my budget is solely pegged on my salary, on the money that I am making. So the thing here is I have been living from paycheck to paycheck. But when this COVID-19 came, I realized, and I asked myself this question: what if this was not just COVID-19, it was my retirement age, and I'm retiring right now? What is going to happen to me? Or God forbid, what will happen if I'm not in a position to work anymore? At least I have an advantage right now. I am still young. I can hustle. I can go out there and make some money. And I can look for some other ways of making money in that thing. But what if, God forbid, I was on my retirement age, or I'm in an age where I cannot work, and I was looking at just my paycheck? And for those who don't have employment, you have, for example, a business. That's your sole source of income. So what if that source of income is cut like today, because you're living on what you're getting from that? What if that source of income is not there anymore? Making. And that living from paycheck to paycheck is something that I really have to work on. I need to find something to fall into. That's one mistake I learned I've been making through my 15 years of working. The second mistake is the saving culture. And I will applaud many Kenyans. Nowadays, many Kenyans have a saving culture. But the question is, what kind of a saving culture do we have? Do we have a smart saving culture? Like me, I used to save, yes. But I always ask myself this question: is my saving, or rather I ask that myself this question during this COVID-19 period: is my saving culture smart? Because if I'm just putting my money in the bank, there is a possibility that this money, not possibility, is true. What will happen is the money will lose value as I go on. Yes, money loses value as we go on. So the question here is, how smart am I in my saving culture? Am I saving because I want to have an emergency fund? Am I saving because I want to invest in a project? And what kind of a project am I saving into? And am I saving so that I have a long-term saving that is going to bring in money even when I am not working? So that is another thing that I learned, that I need to step up on my saving culture. Not that I don't have a saving culture, I need to step up on saving smartly. So that is another lesson that I learned, a mistake that I've been making in the past, and I'm going to work on that. So my saving culture has not been all that good. Another thing that I learned or I have also learned through my life as I was working, is the borrowing culture. I personally can say that I realized this a little bit earlier, so I moved away from borrowing haphazardly, because there was a time I used to just borrow to sustain my lifestyle. And then I realized that if I keep on borrowing to sustain my lifestyle, if I just keep on borrowing to just sustain my lifestyle, it is not going to make me go anywhere. So the question is, how are you borrowing? Are you borrowing to sustain your lifestyle, or are you borrowing to invest in something that is going to bring more income to you? That's one thing I needed to ask yourself about, because we have that culture, especially here in Kenya. We borrow money to buy a car, we borrow money to pay for our house rent, we borrow money so that we can take our friends out for something. We borrow money to sustain a culture. And that's another thing that I learned. And because the thing is, for example, we are borrowing because we are assured there's money coming out from the business that we are getting, so that we can pay that loan, or there is a job that we have that is going to pay that money. What if that source of income is cut completely? Are we going to have money to pay back that loan? So the borrowing culture also learned, we need to improve on that. Okay, I have worked on that. I have improved on it. So nowadays I borrow money only if I want to invest on something that can bring me returns, or to buy an asset that I know will not depreciate. So that is something also that I have learned. Now, another thing, I think it's a spending culture. That one I've talked about. The spending culture. How do we spend our money? For example, most of the times what we do, we have food in the kuna chakula nyumbani, but you do not want to cook and carry your food to work, because that's either a hassle, or everybody else at work doesn't carry food, so you buy food at work, which is extremely very expensive. If you calculate, it's going to be almost like three times what you could have spent, or 4 times, or even 10 times. Another thing is that our spending culture also is that we buy things because other people have bought, especially ladies. I see someone with a very nice blouse, I want that blouse. I see somebody with very nice hair, where did you make that hair? I want to have that hair. So we are spending not because we planned for it, but because other people are doing it. So the spending culture is also something that I have learned to really look into, because we spend a lot of money in things that we do not need, but in things that we just feel like having. And then another thing is that the assets. This COVID-19 has made me realize that I do not have assets to fall back to. Oh, by the way, it's not that I don't have assets. I have assets that don't bring in money. And I think some financial experts, they don't call them assets. It's a liability. I don't know how I can call it a liability, because I don't spend money on it. It's an asset that is lying there. Sisi ni wale watu tumenunua kaplot hapa, kaplot pale, tumenunua huku na huku, but that plot is lying there, nothing is going on. So this plot is there, but this plot is not generating any money. It's not bringing in any income. So the thing is, COVID-19 imenionyesha sina asset ya fall back into. I don't have an asset that can bring in money. If today, God forbid, I'm unable to work completely, thank God, at least I can walk out and I can hustle. But if today was that age I am in, nimekuwa mzee kabisa, siwezi fanya kazi, assets zangu hazileti pesa, zimelala tu. So I want to put myself into task to see these assets that I have, how can I put these assets into making money? So that is something, then another mistake that I've learned during this COVID-19. Inakwambia, when crisis comes, sorry, just give me a minute. Welcome. Pole, I'm back. I had a visitor. So the thing here is, I was talking about assets. So I'm going to task myself to make sure that my assets are going to bring in some money. Manze, COVID imefanya mambo. We need to learn a lot. Another thing is saving, short-term savings and long-term savings. That's another thing that I've learned. Because what I've been doing in the past, I've been saving, I'll call it short-term. I always save to buy something. I save, for example, to buy a plot. I save to buy something that I need for my house. I save because I want to go on a vacation, especially people know me, I like going for vacations. So I've been doing short-term savings, but then now sasa nimeanza kujiuliza, do I have a long-term saving culture? The long-term saving culture is that kind of culture where you're doing your saving in such a way that these savings are generating income, even if it's so small, especially those people who do money market, you understand this, on treasury bills and they're called bonds or ponds. I mean, so a culture where you're saving so that this money at the end of the day is going to generate money for you. The returns are not so high, but they will generate money as time goes on. And if the money is compounded, it's going to ensure that you have more to fall back into. So what I've been doing, I realized, is saving for short term emergency. If anything happens, I have money to take me for 6 months, for three years or something like that. But the long-term saving. So I'm asking you, if you have any financial expert who can help you to do long-term saving or learn more on long-term saving, please do that. That's what I'm doing right now. I am learning more on long-term saving because, manze, nikubaya. Another thing, track your money. Wow. Let me tell you, most of us, we track a huge jump of money, but we don't track the shilling that we spend here and there. Let me give you an example on this one. That was like 6 years back. I used to live in Umoja Estate and in a flat. And just outside our gate, there used to be this guy who used to sell smokies. And the smokies of those days are not like nowadays. They used to choma them, as in they never used to, like today, normally, I think they just boil them and then they sell. But those smokies, they used to be so nice. So every time I walk out, I could take one smoky. It was only 20 bob. And then when I come in, because I used to stay with 2 of my sisters, I'll take 3 smokies. So that's 80 bob. So in a day, I'll use 80 shillings on a smoky. So I have a calculator here. So let's calculate how much that is. So I used to use 80 Kenya shillings on a smoky per day. And then I multiplied that by 30. And in a month, I used to use 2,400 Kenya shillings on smokies alone. Smokies. Ladies, gentlemen, wale tunaingia kwa matatu, or you're driving your car and then on the barabara you get that person who has is selling sweets or selling chewing gum. Ladies, we love to chew gum. Track that 1 shilling. Track every single kind of money that you're using, because what normally happens, we make money, yes, but at the end of the month we don't have anything to show for it, because we have used that money. We don't know where the money has gone, and we are wondering, where has my money gone? Because we do not track our money. So another thing I have learned during this COVID-19 is seriously track your money. Know where your money is going. Then that will help you to save your money, or put your money, or channel your money into something that is more valuable, or it will help you to keep your money with you. And as I said before, I am not a financial expert. I am sharing my stories and what I have learned during my 15 years of working and what this COVID-19 has made me wake up to about money. So those are some of the mistakes I have learned about money. Making money, retaining money, making it grow, and also making that money work for me. So what can we do? What can we do? Or what have I decided to do as Evelyn now that I have learned those mistakes? One thing is that I have decided to develop a wealth creation mindset. For example, I need to understand that the way I spend 1 shilling is the same way I will spend 1,000,000 shillings if I get that money today. Remember my smoky stories? That 20 bob I used to just buy from that gentleman, it used to add up to something. That chewing gum that you don't record. So the thing is, if today you were to get 1,000,000 shillings, let's say, for example, your company decides today, Evelyn, God forbid, that I'm going to be retrenched today, and my company, for example, gives me a few, maybe 1,000,000 Kenya shillings. The thing is, if I fall back into my old habits of not tracking my money, I'll go back to zero. I will have nothing to fall it back to. So I need to understand that the way I spend that 1 Kenya shillings today is the same way I'm going to spend my retirement benefits. It's the same way I'm going to spend my retirement benefits, the same way I'm going to spend ile pesa. For example, if you're going to win a lottery today, it's the same way I'm going to spend that money. And it may take me back to where I am today, this COVID-19, of wondering how am I going to work around things. Remember, right now I have the energy, I can go out, I can work, I can hustle. But when I am going to be old, I cannot hustle anymore, or God forbid something happens, I cannot hustle anymore. Will I have money that I can fall back into? So that mindset of how I spend 1 shilling, just understand that the way you spend that 1 shilling is the same way you're going to spend 1,000,000 shillings if it comes to your life or your hands. Another thing is, view money in terms of not what you earn, but what you're able to save and invest. Saizi siku hizi Kenya, even me by there, I've been doing this for a very long time. I've been viewing wealth in terms of how much I earn. So if I find a job somewhere that is going to make me earn more money, I'm going to apply for that job and I am going to get that job, for example. And then the thing is, am I able to save anything from what I'm earning? Because most of the times, let me just give myself as an example. When I've been working, by the way, in a company, the same company, for these 15 years, and I have been getting promotions. And the promotion always comes with more pay, of course. But what kind of changes has this pay increase brought into my life? It is not about how much money I'm making, it's how much I'm able to keep from what I am earning, and how from whatever I'm keeping, how am I able to grow it so that it can bring me disposable income. By the way, for those of us who don't understand disposable income, hii ni ile pesa inaingianga tu hata kama ufanyi kazi, which I think right now I cannot confidently say that I have. But I have promised myself I'm going to try, to start today, to make sure that I start a project that's going to give me disposable income, hopefully 10 years from now, or 5 years from now, or 2 years from now. But I'm going to start. I know I'm getting old, but it's never too late. So the thing here is, it is not how much you're making. from your business. It's not how much you're making from your salary. It's not how much you're making for those of us who get allowances. It is how much of that, of what you're making, you're keeping, and how much whatever you're keeping is growing. How much, at what rate is that growing? So that is one thing that we need to do. So we need to invest wisely. By the way, Evelyn, it's not that I will not try to invest, I have, but I have also made mistakes in investing, and I think now I need to have a financial mentor. As I said before, I am not a financial expert. I am only sharing lessons that I've learned and hacks that have really worked, and COVID-19 imenifanya nimeamka nazo. So that is what we need to do. And then another thing, I've been tracking my money, yes, but not every single coin. I realized that I've not been tracking my airtime, especially those of us who use M-Pesa or a Safaricom. You're calling your friend, and then all of a sudden airtime, you don't have airtime, you just go to M-Pesa, you buy airtime, and I think I've not been tracking my airtime, and I am very sure if I track it. So the thing is, I've tracked what I've been spending, yes, but I've been tracking only the big chunk of money that I've been spending mostly. I have not been tracking the small things. So let's track our money. Where is our money going? So that we don't keep on asking ourselves, ile pesa manze inaingia lakini mwisho wa mwezi we don't have any money. So track your money. Find out where your money is going to. It is very important. And I'd like to thank you for tuning in. These are few of the money hacks that I've learned during this COVID-19. It's not that I've not been learning about them, but I think I'm taking them so seriously this time around, and I am challenging you. I'm challenging you today. First, find a financial expert who can help you understand your money. One thing for sure is when we talk about personal leadership is about taking control of your life. That's one thing. And we cannot talk about personal leadership if we cannot talk about taking control of your money. You need to know how to take control of your money. Otherwise, your money will take control over you. So know how, not only how to make money. By the way, Kenyans, we are very good at this. We know how to make money. We know how to hustle. Tunajua kwenda huko nje ku hustle. You have your job here, you have a side hustle, but do we know how to keep this money? Do we know how to make it grow? Do we know how to make it work for us? So please, I'm challenging you. You either read more books, by the way, for those who want to read this book, it was recommended to me. It's called The Smart Woman Money. Smart Woman Money. So I'm asking you, please read this book. It's specially written for women, but it also can apply, the lessons there can apply to all genders. And also, if you can get any other book that you can recommend, please recommend it so that other people can read more about money, how to generate wealth, how to retain that wealth, and how to make it grow. So one aspect of personal leadership is making sure that you take control of your finances. Evelyn, I have learned a lot during this COVID-19. I need to wake up. I need to be more specific on how, and more serious, I think, on how to spend, track, keep, and make my money grow. Thank you so much for tuning in. And we may talk, or rather we will talk more about other things about money and creating wealth next time when we meet. Remember, we always have these live discussions every Sunday at Motivation and Leadership. So you're welcome, and also you can share to your friends whatever we've learned today, and I hope this is going to be very beneficial. Thank you so much, and remember, you have everything within you to make your life what you want it to be. Trust in yourself, because I trust in you. Thank you, and see you next time. Bye-bye.